what I think is difficult about going on first dates is finding that balance between telling the person about yourself versus like them getting to know it like in real life.
Ooh.
Welcome back to another episode of BULGOGI Pod.
Wow, we remembered. That's great. That's
okay.
great.
I've been working on my my memory stuff.
Yes.
So
yes. Make sure this is all good. That's all good.
We're all good.
We're good.
We're good.
But how was your week? Was your week good?
You know, my week was interesting. Is the key word here.
I feel like that never usually equates to
good. Yeah, I mean,
interesting.
It was like a mix of good and bad. I don't know if you could tell, but I got my tan on. I just came back from Hawaii with my family.
Nice. You're almost on my level.
Oh God. Wait, can you maybe do the other side? Oh my gosh.
Okay, actually, that's like pretty close.
That's like pretty good. Wait,
that's
Julie,
pretty close.
I'm like pretty tan.
I think this is the most tan I've ever seen you.
Right?
Great job.
But also, I want to point out that the only reason why I got tan is because I fell asleep on the beach. And so I'm only tan on the front side. Right? I was supposed to flip. I didn't have time to flip.
Okay.
I woke up and I was like, oh gosh. And
wasn't that the same case in Miami? Didn't you fall asleep on the beach?
Yeah. You see, my favorite thing to do on vacation, like my goals for this vacation, were to just fall asleep on the beach.
Okay,
literally,
great.
That was like my only goal.
Great.
And so I did that once. And then got to see Becky, one of our close friends who moved to Hawaii.
Yeah, that picture was so cute. You, Becky, and Luke.
Dude, it was so funny because we met up for dinner and immediately I went, oh my gosh, Becky, we're matching to the T.
I remember.
We were almost completely matching. Like it was like the black schoolgirl-ish skirt, pleated, and then she was wearing like knee-high boots. So that was kind of the only difference that I was wearing, and we're both wearing black tops. And so literally it was just like Luke and his hose. It was so funny.
But it was cute. It was cute.
Yeah. So it was really nice seeing her, catching up with her. I didn't realize how much I missed her,
Yeah, because she's also a very in-person type of person.
Oh yeah,
so.
absolutely. And it just kind of reminded me that we're in our next life stage and people are going to be moving away, and it's hard to keep in touch with people when they move away, but we're doing our best. We're trying our best. Yeah, and so that was nice. Ate good food. Ate a lot of musubis and Japanese food and soba. And then it was interesting because I think family vacations, you've mentioned this before, how now that we're grown up and have had traveled with friends and kind of do things differently, going back and traveling with family was honestly a little difficult because our travel styles are different.
Yeah.
I think in the past, my parents kind of took care of all the planning, but then for this one specifically, my dad was oh, don't plan anything, because I think he just wanted to have that kind of the freedom of figuring things out while we're there, but then that caused extra stress on everyone, I think, a little bit, and then not having dinner reservations and stuff like that. My sister was running around, and then huge shout out to my sister because she was kind of doing everything because I was busy with work, because work has just been extra busy. We have a big thing coming up soon. And so
holidays.
So it was very interesting. And I think separately everyone has their own stuff going on.
Yeah.
And so I think it's easy once again to take things out on your family.
Yeah.
It just kind of all comes out on family vacations.
I'm scared. Because you're also going away
to Colorado.
Yes, for Thanksgiving.
Yeah, and it's a full 7 or 9 days. It's kind of a long time. Yeah. And so I think that one should be fine. We're gonna be up in the mountains. I feel like everyone is happy when we're skiing because it's we don't talk to each other.
That's very true.
We all have a common goal. I think that's the thing here is with friends, when you travel, I don't know about you, but I always set intentions. Literally, I have a trip coming up, and I was what are our intentions? And we were both chill, you know?
Okay, yeah.
And so I think with family, we don't ever do that. We don't ever go, oh, what are our intentions for this trip? So maybe I think that's where the misalignment was.
Yeah.
Essentially.
Yeah. It's taking me back kind of to when my parents and I like debriefed on what went wrong last Thanksgiving.
Right.
And they were just like, I don't know why you're trying to like do the mostest, essentially. Right?
Okay, yeah.
So we are going on a family trip to
Banff.
Banff, Alberta, near Calgary, in Canada. And so if you do have recs, please send them my way. But we have identified that this too will be a chill. Like my mom does not want to go on long walks.
Okay.
She wants to go to like indoor tea parties.
Yes.
Maybe spa. Like maybe walk around the lake. But maybe just even a pit stop to view Lake Louise or Louisa. I can't remember what it's called.
Right.
She'll be happy.
Okay, good.
You know, like that's the goal here. So it'll be, I'm gonna just be there in the cold, taking some fresh, mountain air.
Yeah.
Cute pics.
That'll be nice.
Visit a different country.
Right.
That's about it. That's the goal.
Okay, yeah.
I just want to just a little mention football a little bit.
Okay.
I'm in the process of persuading my parents to spend our Christmas and New Year's at a Rams football game. So I'm really excited about that. I think my dad is down. My dad's definitely down. And I would obviously want to spend Christmas and New Year's with my mom too. But she would just be wasting the ticket price. You know what I mean?
Oh, I see.
So... And I know it's about the experience,
right?
But I just think it'd be such a big waste of money for my mom, for her to attend.
Is it home game?
Yeah, for both of them. Well, the New Year's one is Rams versus Chargers, but the Rams are the away team at SoFi.
Oh, interesting. Yeah.
So that's that.
Okay.
And yeah, I'm just so excited for football. But that's about it. That was my week.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, this week we're getting into a little first date stuff. Julia and I are both not dating currently.
Yes.
But we're viewing this episode as a little mental prep for when we do go out on our first dates in a minute. And so, this is first date etiquette. What should you not do on a first date? What should you do on a first date?
Yes.
What are red flags on a first date? Everything first date related.
Yes. And, I don't really know. You know what I mean? This is truly going to be a
self-discovery.
Definitely. Most definitely. Because just life is so funny. Right. Obviously, I've had past experiences that help me define my opinions about certain things, like in relation to dating.
She's dated everyone.
And so, and then I'm like, okay, maybe I shouldn't do that. Right, trying to challenge myself.
Okay.
And then I am in this loophole of like challenging myself, but is challenging myself like not being organic and it's so unnatural.
Right.
Yeah, then I'm like, maybe that's just not me, and maybe there's a reason, you know what I mean, that I initially approached things in the way that I did.
Right.
And so then I'm just in this, I never thought I was an overthinker, but like maybe I am.
Right.
I truly just never thought I was. But yeah, maybe I am. Dude, and then I'll just get so confused.
Right.
At myself. Like, who is Julie? What is it that I want? And then when I get to the point of what is it that I want? Who is Julie? Then I'm like, maybe it's not a good time to date because I don't even know who I am.
Okay. Yeah. It's about, building the foundation first.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I am dating myself.
Okay.
And I'm dating my work at the moment.
Okay, awesome.
So hopefully those things will help me identify
who is Julie?
What type of person needs to be added into my life.
Oh.
Right? Because we want to make sure that they're not necessarily filling anything that we don't have.
Exactly.
Right?
Like you're a whole person on your own and then this person is just an addition.
Exactly.
They're not completing the puzzle because the puzzle is already completed.
Yes.
Yeah. It's just two puzzles sitting next to each other. Okay. So you've dated before. You've been on some first dates.
I have. Have you?
I have.
Yes, you have.
Okay, so
yes, you have.
Looking back, is there anything you learned from maybe a past relationship, a past person that you dated on what not to do during a first date?
Maybe this needs to be funneled down to the specifics.
Okay.
But maybe overshare. Because the thing is, I think I'm oversharing, but not your deepest, darkest secrets type of overshare. I think I'm oversharing a lot of the more shallow information, or maybe even like facts about me. But like personal facts about like maybe me and my friends. Oh, that's a good one. My friends, right? Like there was a point when literally my entire first date would be like me and my friends. Oh, my friends. Oh, there's like this person. I mean, there's 9 of us and blah, blah, blah. I'm like talking about our friends
Right,
for the
right.
majority of the conversation. But
We get it. You have
Yeah.
friends.
but I guess I'm sharing too many like facts that allow the individual to make up what they think I am, who they think I am, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that makes sense. Right? Because I think like the point of a first date is to get to know somebody. And so like the smallest things that somebody says, you'll draw a lot of conclusions and kind of
Yes.
assume that they
Yes.
know you.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
And I know that's something you hate.
yes.
Right?
Yes.
Like you literally hate when people are like, oh, Julie's like this, Julie's
Yeah.
like this. Because I mean, what's the reason behind that, I guess?
I think because I'm naturally not so vulnerable with a lot of people, like in the external shell of mine, like people can, oh yeah, Julie's like loves talking to new people, and oh yeah, she is this way and that way. But do I prefer it to be, and do I actually like? Maybe not. But because that's the only context they have is like me in those settings,
Right.
that they make those conclusions. And that's why it's funny, because I dislike that, but there are also very few people in my life that know that.
That makes sense.
Unless you listen to our podcast and have listened to our podcast, then you kind of know. But
yeah. You see, along those same lines though, is like I don't like it on a first date, second date, third date early on when you're giving people like too much of a guide on you, right? And so one thing I really don't like is when people are like, oh, what's your type?
oh, yeah.
You know, because
Yeah.
I think like, to be quite honest, like I personally don't have a type. I think that it varies, right?
Your brows are so nice today.
Oh my gosh, thank you.
Oh, they're really nice.
Oh, thank you so much. I used a little comb.
They're real clean today. They're so like,
oh,
they look very in one direction. But not that they're normally not. They're very clean today.
Oh,
anyway,
awesome.
sorry.
Okay, so yeah, I really don't like the question, what's your type? Because I think it's giving the other person too much information about you, right? Because if I'm like, oh, I like someone like this, and I like someone who like opens a door and all of that, again, going back to like not being yourself, like what if I'm just giving them like a literal step-by-step guide into how to woo me?
Yeah.
And that not actually be them, right?
Yeah.
Because I think that like, right, you want to impress people, like
Yeah.
you want people to like you, and so even if it's subconsciously, like you could
Yeah.
be using that information. And you know, like specifically for me, I've had this happen, right? It was like I don't remember what number date it was, but he was like, oh, what's your type, right? And I was like, let me think about that, because I never have a good answer. Like it's always just like, oh, like I'm a personality person, you know, like I'm very much like, I mean, looks, all of the external stuff, like it doesn't matter, because I don't know until like I actually meet you.
Yeah.
You know? And so like when he asked me that, I was like, oh, you go first. Like, I don't remember. Like, or like, let me think about my answer. And he went,
Yeah.
oh, like I like someone who's confident. Right. And then I get that. Oh, I get that. I get that. Right. I like a confident person too. But the fact that he said that made me kind of go into my shell, and I felt like I couldn't open up about like anything that I was going through. Right. Like
Yeah.
if I had a hard day at work, like if I'm sharing with him, like, is that showing inconfidence?
Yeah.
Unconfident? Is that showing, what is the opposite of confidence? Is that showing weakness? You know, like I feel like I couldn't be vulnerable around him, right? And like I am naturally like a very vulnerable person, and so I literally just could not be myself.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, what did you have to say about that?
Yeah, I guess I was just, are there people that like specifically target non-confident people? Like, I love a confident
Like, duh.
person. Like, what? Like,
duh.
but you know what? I can see it though.
Right.
Like girls who are, you know, who may have a lot of insecurity. Like, I feel like there are some like evil men that like target women like that.
Oh no.
You know?
Yeah, no,
it's
for
just
sure.
reality.
Yeah.
So
for sure.
yeah. And I know that wasn't on the first date.
Yeah.
But I have also been asked on a first date, like, what are your non-negotiables? Which is like essentially like, what are you looking for?
Exactly.
Right. And well, I didn't share much because I didn't know. I didn't know what was on my non-negotiable, but it was just interesting because it's not like a checklist of like, okay, like this person said they like sports.
Right.
Let me start watching sports or like make sports references to tally it up. I didn't think too much of it. Just like, oh, that's a very like deep question to ask on the first date when we don't really know each other.
Right.
That's what I thought.
Right.
But then when I came home and debriefed with you guys were like, that's a no-no. And I was like, yeah, you're right. You're right.
Yeah, it is
right.
a no-no.
It's like a cop-out, like easy way to try to fit the mold of what you think this person is looking for, which is not what I'm looking for.
Right. And also on on that same
track of trains on that same track of trains.
No. On that same note,
track of trains.
On that same note, what I think is difficult about going on first dates is finding that balance between telling the person about yourself versus like them getting to know it like in real life.
Ooh.
You know what I mean? Because like, like I can tell you like, oh, I'm a very vulnerable person, but like, I don't want you to just like kind of like take that information in like that. Like I want you to kind of like experience it and then like draw your own conclusions.
I love that. Yeah. But I love that.
Yeah.
Right? Like, yeah, somebody like for like easy example, right? Somebody can tell, I don't need to tell somebody I love pink.
Right.
If we go on the date, say my wallet is pink, we go eat ice cream and I'm like, I'm going to choose this one because it's pink. You know, like making those connections.
Right, like those observations.
And even like, like your humor, I don't know, what do you call it? Humor code, humor language, like you just identifying that by the way they speak.
Right.
Or like the jokes that they make instead of, oh, I'm like this type of funny person.
Yes.
Instead of like mentioning it's like the actual delivery and once again the experience.
Right. So. Yeah. And so I love it when people like actually let me experience them rather than just like not like that. You're so dude. I offended you.
When they let me, you just said
experience who they are.
Experience who they are.
Like, okay, this is such a dumb example. This is like literally such a dumb example, but like it literally made me fall like, whoo, because this guy was like, oh yeah, like I'm working on my flexibility, like I can't touch my toes, right? But I'm almost there. And I was like, oh, okay. He stops in the middle of the grove and goes, here, let me show you. And then starts touching his toes. And he was so proud of it. And I was like, this is so endearing.
Yeah,
like I literally,
that's so cute.
Yeah, it was like, oh, you're like actually showing me.
You're not just about the talk.
Exactly. You're literally walking the walk.
Yes. Yeah. Yes. Yeah. Or stopping and showing the
toe touch.
The toe touch. But yeah. So what did we just say? Don't talk about non-negotiables.
What's your type?
Or what's your type? Yeah.
And like
that's really pressuring. That's really pressuring. Yeah. But what else? Well, actually, in addition to what I said about like sharing too much, like oversharing, right? And allowing the other person to make assumptions. What are your thoughts on setting the bar too high on the first date?
So,
because inevitably, naturally, I don't know about you, but like on the first date, like aren't we talking about like what do you do? Where do you see yourself going? You know what I mean? Like what's kind of the plan here?
Right.
Maybe not the 20-year plan, but I wouldn't mind if somebody asked me my 20-year plan. But also now this is making me think I'm going on a tangent because I'm just like this. My mind is just all over the place. But also now that we are 25, right? Like, is it even appropriate to bring up like high school? Like high school references and even college. I mean, we've been out of college for a couple of years now too. You know what I mean? So is that a red flag too if all you're talking about is college?
Like, did you peak in college?
Yeah, exactly.
Did you peak in high school?
So now I'm like, oh my God, like what can I talk about? Like, because it seems like ages ago.
Right.
It's not really ages ago. But anyways, setting the bar too high.
So I think naturally, right, everyone wants to impress people. And then especially me, I think that first impressions are a very big thing. Like it may not be everything because you can be wrong and it may take time. Like people have off days and stuff like that. But like naturally, I want to make a good impression. And so to be quite honest, I think that I've gone on plenty of first dates where I or them set the bar too high, right? We've all had that experience where like you'll go on a first date and you're like, oh my gosh, it was great. And then it drops down, right? And so like, because now I've had that experience like multiple times, even if the first date I come out of it and I was like, wow, that first date was great. Like maybe there's like actually hope for men and the male population. Like maybe there's hope for me. Like I think like I am trying to work on like managing those expectations and being like, okay, that was just a first date. Like it could have just been like new and exciting, and like maybe like, you know, we're just like both like on the high of like, oh, we've been talking for this long, like we're finally meeting up and all of that. And so now I'm trying to like kind of view things and like step back and I guess manage those like expectations for at least the second date. I think I usually do it for the first date because like I've met some weirdos, you know? Yeah.
Setting the bar too high.
What about you? I know that, you know, you're a rock star and you give 400% at football practice. And are you a people pleaser?
Am I? That's the thing. I'm just rediscovering myself. I'm like, oh my gosh, overthinker, is that me?
Right.
People pleaser, is that me?
Right.
And it's, I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know. I am trying to crack down the onion within myself as of lately too.
Right.
So I really don't know. I'm just so confused. But I feel like because I know I can be so different when I'm nervous, whether it's a pep talk, I don't know what it is, but I feel like I am pretty good at bringing myself down and setting the expectation and the bar really low for first dates.
Oh, do you do that?
And so, yeah. That's why when like, I don't know if I mean, it's been kind of a while, but that's why I normally can't process how the date went after the first date. Like I'm never like, oh, it was so amazing. I'm never like that, you know?
Yeah.
I'm never coming out to you guys like, oh, I went on a date and it was like so amazing. I never come out of it. Because even my rule for restaurants here in LA is you have to go at least 3 times because it depends on the waiter, depends on the weather, depends on the parking situation. Like everything can play a role into the experience. Like the first date, you just don't know. You don't know if that's really them.
Right.
Maybe just the restaurant was better. Maybe the restaurant was so good it made you think it was a great date. But the person, maybe he was more like a C-. I don't know. But so I also find myself, follow along.
Okay.
I normally talk a lot.
Okay, I'm ready.
So I'm not saying that I don't talk as much on the first date, but I
Right.
definitely don't talk as much as you would know of how much I talk.
Right, okay.
That sounded like a fragment, but
No, I
think
got
you
it.
got it. You
I
got
got
it.
it.
Yeah.
I'm
Like
following.
I talk a lot and I definitely still talk on the date, but not as much as I normally talk.
Okay.
Which then to me, I feel like the other person is talking the majority of the time.
Oh.
So that's the situation.
Okay. And along the same lines, I do think that like because you don't know this person and you don't know the dynamic, I think the asking questions thing is always an issue. AKA what not to do on a first date. Don't make it seem like it's an interview. But then
Yeah.
also don't only talk about yourself. Like
Yeah. Like that's definitely not me, right? Like I'm probably deflecting a bit more. And like, actually, but am I? Because the feedback I got from previous first dates was that I never asked a question back to the individual. So the individual would ask me the question, I would answer. And I mean, in my defense, I was like, oh, well, you answered it anyways without me having to ask you. But something they noticed was that I did not ask them the question like back. Like, what about you? You know?
yeah.
So I don't know.
Wait, that's really funny.
But I didn't notice it. I was like,
Oh,
really?
This is like how you have a conversation.
well, because that specific first date,
Right.
I feel like that individual talked more than I did.
So
how much more
do you
talking
want
did you
to
want to do? So I don't know.
yeah, because like to be honest, like I'm very, very, very conscious of like making sure I'm like asking the other person back. But then at the same time, I don't want it to like be so forced of like, oh, what do you do for work? And it's like, da-da-da-da. It's like, what do you do? You know, like I like to be like creative and like not ask them the exact same question back. Like I want it to be like a little bit more like insightful and deep rather than just like the standard like, oh, where are you from? How did you grow up? Where did you go to college? What did you study? You know?
Yeah. So 2 comments there because I just thought of it, but I thought I'd share because I thought it was really funny and a really creative question.
Okay.
But my thing with that too about making sure it doesn't seem like an interview, I think because that is my job, I'm even more reluctant And like even now, like even thinking about, okay, when I am ready to go on like first dates,
Right.
when I'm done like dating myself,
Right.
I'm like, oh my God, how do I approach it while not being so reminded of my job? And so it's truly a concern. But if you do run out of questions in your question bank, I think a great and creative question that my sister and I talked about during lunch a couple of days ago was, if you had to go to jail, if you went to jail for something, what would you go to jail for?
Too much swag.
Okay, our answers are definitely
Too much
We were
biz.
like blue collar crime or white collar crime. Like, what would we go to jail for? And
Too much money.
too much money, or like aggression. I said aggression. Or like my coworker friend was like, oh, definitely punching somebody at the bar. But it wasn't just any, like it wasn't like another woman. It was like a big dude at a bar, and I was like, you could see yourself punching a big dude at a bar?
She's like,
and she
"I've
was
done
like,
it."
yeah. And I was like, you know what? I could see myself doing that too. A little fast uppercut. It's about the speed. You know,
You're
if you
right.
can't beat them with the strength, it's about the speed.
You're right.
You know what I mean?
Oh gosh, that was real quick.
So
Yeah, I will say that one time that like I got into my little fender bender on the freeway, Julie,
okay,
I could not calm you down. I was literally like, wait, I'm the most calm and I was the driver. It is my car. Julie, please don't fight this girl on the side of the highway right now.
don't make me look so bad. Like you mentioned, there was another individual
That was also being aggressive. So the two of you, I am trying to calm both of you down and the other person down.
because the other person was being ridiculous. Oh my God, please! The other person was like,
Jail.
Why you bump into me? I was like, are you serious? And I wasn't even fully there. You guys, I was fully in class. I was in class in the car watching the PowerPoint with my professor talking on this tiny screen, and I was getting so car sick. I was like, I don't feel good because I'm like trying to look at this like stupid diagram that's like literally this big because it's on the phone screen. Right. And then context clues. You just got your car back.
Yeah,
you
literally
just got your car back.
that
day somebody bumped into us and there was so much farking traffic, and Becky was visiting and she was only here for a couple of days, and we still had like 30-40 minutes to go because there was so much freaking traffic on the freeway. And she caused more traffic.
Yeah,
because they
you're
were
right.
like, do you not remember what they said? They were like, you came out of nowhere.
No, I do remember.
Bitch, you literally...
I absolutely do remember. I'm just giving an example of your aggression.
Oh, yeah. Well, yeah.
You know, of jail.
I think I would have felt so bad for you if like there was no conclusion,
Right.
And like you had to pay up something,
Oh
or
yeah,
like
no, absolutely not.
yeah,
Absolutely
that got me
not.
riled up.
Yeah,
So
it's fine. I dealt with her dad, that 18-year-old. Yeah, it's fine. Anyways,
but yeah, I'm trying to embrace this side of me. When you suppress it for too long, I feel like
you're right.
you start hurting yourself.
You're right.
You start
And then
getting
also,
sick.
like, I want to say you have your outlet.
I do.
Box Union. So
And football.
And football.
And football.
Especially football. You're
I
right.
know. Yeah, and it's a great way to even out your butt.
Is your butt not even?
You knew one of my butt cheeks was bigger than the other butt cheek. Yeah.
Okay.
You didn't?
I don't remember. I feel like I am imagining your butt because I've seen it just full there. You know what I mean? And so I'm trying to imagine if it was uneven.
Well, I don't know if this is an issue that a lot of women experience, but definitely one butt cheek was bigger than the other butt cheek. Maybe in elementary school, middle school, I only like worked out one butt cheek more than the other.
Well, probably, yeah.
But football has evened it out.
Okay,
So I'm
that's
very,
great.
very happy.
Okay.
Yeah. But sorry.
Okay.
Going back to what not to do.
What not to do.
I guess this is not so much like on the date, but what are we not wearing? What's kind of that pre-date routine?
Ooh. In terms of wearing, I have like 2 or 3 outfits that I know I feel good in and I kind of don't have to put thought into.
Because you already know it looks good.
Exactly.
Okay.
Like
okay.
I know I feel good in it more than anything, you know? Like I think it's like, right? Like whenever I had like a test I was stressed out for, I always made sure to like dress cute that day and like wear makeup and do my hair, because when you look good you feel good. And so I think it was more about that than anything else.
Yeah.
And then also making sure that I'm not reading into anything that they said, if that makes sense. Like I don't want to get too excited. Like it's all
For
about
the date,
because I'm not trying to like be like, oh, I'm so excited to meet this dude, like whatever, like he seems like this, and like it's making all those assumptions, it's making all of those like observations based off of like how they tell you they are. You know what I mean? And so managing expectations is always on that list. But then also I try to go back and make sure that I'm like low-key studying what we talked about. Right? Because I got bad memory. And so I'm working on it though.
Yes.
Sorry, I don't want to manifest. I don't want to speak that into existence. Yeah. I'm working on the memory thing. And
well, the thing is, like, I mean, if you like really cared and it was like you were interested, would you forget it?
Potentially.
Okay.
It depends on how long like we talked for, you know?
Okay.
Like if I'm talking to somebody for like 1-2 weeks, like, and I have other stuff on my brain, like, yeah, maybe I'll forget. And so, just going back, doing a refresher, I think is always the move.
Yes.
Yeah. Refreshers before our first date.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's been so long.
What's that pre-date ritual?
I think if I had to compare it to an experience, going on a first date to me feels like a couple minutes, or like the couple minutes before the first date and I'm like see the guy in person, feels exactly like the couple minutes before I go up on stage for like a presentation, like an on-stage presentation. Those are the same like jitters that I get.
The gut feeling.
But then once I get up there,
you're fine.
I'm still nervous, but I'm not as nervous. Like the peak of the nervousness is when when they're about to call my name or the previous presenter is like wrapping up. That's like the peak, right? Yeah. So then for me, it's like literally the drive when my hands are like the sweatiest ever.
Yeah.
I could vomit.
Right.
But
hands sweaty.
Yeah. I think I don't have, I mean, that's so smart though. I definitely know I have tops, bottoms that work well together, make me feel comfortable. But I guess it really depends on like where we're eating. Because also during COVID dating, it was a very different situation, right? You're sitting down like crisscross applesauce and even jeans.
Sorry, where are you sitting down crisscross applesauce?
When you're at the picnic at the park, are you not crisscross applesauce?
Outside. Yeah, you're right.
Because I mean, during COVID, you weren't really going in anywhere,
yeah, you're right? Yeah.
But now I think we're back to like dinner, coffee shops and like dinner locations.
Right.
So depending on what type of vibe that is, what are you wearing? Right? Even the food. You look at the menu beforehand and is it like bloaty food? Right? Because if it's bloaty food, the chances of me wearing a crop top are very slim and very slight. You know?
If it's bloaty food, I'm suggesting something else.
Oh.
Like, okay, I recently, guys, PSA.
Okay, PSA.
I recently discovered that hummus makes me bloat. Because it's made out of
garbanzo beans.
Is it chickpeas? Are those the same? Why do I feel like those are like literally
the same thing?
In the same species, genius family.
The same family. Hummus is made of... Oh, it is chickpeas.
Wait, but then what's the difference between chickpeas and garbanzo beans?
Clearly people were curious about it because it was the first thing that popped up. They are actually two names for the same wonderfully healthy superfood.
It's not a superfood because that makes me fart. I'm a very like gassy individual when I eat hummus. And so, okay, if you guys are in the LA area, in West Adams, there's this Mediterranean place called Miss Lala. I think it is a great first date spot, but I would not eat.
Is that where we went?
Hummus. Oh, we went to Alta.
Oh, Alta.
Yeah.
That was a great spot too.
Oh, yeah. Everything was West Adams popping.
Yeah. And Miss Lala was like across the street, right?
Across the street, yeah. So anything with hummus, I'm out.
Yeah.
I realized Chinese food does not make me feel okay. I'm like not okay.
Yeah. It's not that I don't have anything against Chinese food. I just didn't grow up eating it. So I think that's why it's just a gamble of like how I'm going to feel afterwards.
Right. Yeah, that makes sense.
And you probably don't want to have like urgent restroom visits on a first date. So gotta go with something safe.
Yeah. Don't do a boiling crab.
Yeah.
What are like fears that you have going in on a first date?
Oh,
murder.
I don't know why that's never a concern for me. Like, hopefully I've done the good vetting via text.
Right.
That I can confirm that he's not a murderer.
Right, but
you never know.
Exactly.
Right, obviously, you never know.
Yeah.
I mean, you never know.
Yeah, they could be real charismatic. You never know.
Yeah. And honestly, I'm just not a, like, looks person.
Julie likes ugly guys.
She said I'm not a loser. Like, I just feel like if I were to be catfished, I don't know. It feels like a big way, like a big. I would feel it. I would feel a type of way about it.
Okay.
Okay, well, it hasn't happened yet. Right. So,
Okay.
I don't know. Would I be disappointed? I think I would, but at that point, what are you gonna do?
Right.
What you gonna do?
Right.
But okay, when I say I'm not a looks person, I don't necessarily know that the looks is what attracts me to a person.
Oh, I know that.
Damn. It is more so the person. No, you're not. You're not playing. So it's more like the personality, but
She's the personality girl. Okay, so not murder? Wow.
like once again, my take on that is if I was meant to be murdered on a date, then that's how God wanted to send me to heaven. So
On the news.
so be 25-year-old girl from South Bay. From the South Bay.
Murdered on first date.
From Hinge.
From Hinge.
There's legal action being taken from blah, 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 blah. How was my, like,
Your
anchor
reporter
woman voice?
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
great. I think you
Yeah.
should do it. Okay,
But
well,
anyways.
You know what I'm fearful of?
What?
That I smell bad.
Why?
Dude, I'm always... Wait, is this not a thing? I'm literally always scared that I smell bad. Not because I think I smell bad, but because I have smelled other people who smell bad. You know what I mean?
Actually, yeah. Mine is, I think, maybe my breath. But, I mean, there's no chance we're even that close for you to be able to smell my breath
Here,
anyways.
let's do a breath check.
No, I can't.
Come here.
No.
Come here.
Did it sound like coffee?
No, it didn't.
Well, actually,
What did you eat this morning?
I had a bagel.
I smelled the
think
chapche from last night.
No, you don't. No, you don't. I did not have chapcha today. I had.
From last night, I said.
I know, but you're telling me you smelled the chapcha from my breath from last night?
Yeah.
That's concerning. But no, well, it's funny you bring up the body odor because you've smelled bad body odor, BO from other people.
Right.
Because I have, maybe the workplace.
Oh,
You
yeah.
know, just like, because when you're like working so close to one another, you
Right.
kind of like smell it.
Right.
So
Yeah. So I always make sure to spray. I'm short, right? 5'2". I make sure to do perfume in my hair, and then I get both wrists, and then I also put Vaseline prior to spraying it there so it lasts longer, and then behind the ears, always. And then also a note on the perfume. I've been getting lots of compliments.
let's go.
And you know what I'm realizing also is when I bought it, I was with like one of my guy friends, and I made sure to go and ask him what he thought.
Ooh.
And so I feel like that was a good move.
Okay, I don't know how this is gonna sound.
Okay.
But I feel like my scents, nobody dislikes it. I think there are people who would prefer not to smell that sweet, but I don't think the scents that I like and spray on myself are scents that people dislike.
Yeah, I can't say I like went out of my way to be like, Julie, that
Like,
doesn't...
it's hurting my head, right?
Oh, actually,
like
there is one. It's
Which
the one? It's the one
one?
that your dad likes.
Oh, but I
you
I don't
use
even
it.
wear that.
Yeah,
I don't.
you
I
use
just
it.
literally have that for decoration at this point.
Yeah.
So I'm never really concerned about what I wear because, like I said, my concern would be wearing a scent that hurts the heads of other people.
Right, it's that headache.
Yeah.
You see,
Almost
but,
like a car scent.
right. But
Right?
the thing is like, you know how like people will say they don't like it when people wear like too much cologne or too much perfume. Mm-hmm. I think I prefer that over
Too much?
the latter. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, Aaron Donald wears Chanel Blue number 5.
He does?
Yeah. Is it Chanel Blue or Blue Chanel? I don't even know if that one has a number, but y'all know what I'm talking
Number
about. I feel like a
5?
lot of guys wear that scent. But so that's a great scent.
Okay.
But
Have you smelled it, or are you just going by what Aaron Donald wears?
I have my ex wore that one,
Oh,
and so does
nice.
our friend Dijung have that one.
Oh, nice.
I think a lot of boys have that one,
Oh, basic
Yeah.
bitches.
Yeah. but not Aaron Donald.
Oh,
But not
absolutely
Aaron
not.
Donald. Yeah, not Aaron Donald.
They're all copying him.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Oh, but to close out the perfume part of
Okay.
this segment,
Okay.
I don't know if I would necessarily choose a perfume because the other population was like, oh, I like that. You know?
Yeah. I mean, to be honest, like I liked it
I know. Yeah.
first.
Yeah.
And then I was like, okay, let's just see what he thinks.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Other than that, I don't know yet. I haven't decided like alcohol level. As somebody who doesn't drink, what are your thoughts on like if the other guy was like, oh, like can I get a drink?
Oh.
Maybe had 2. Like, what are your thoughts?
Wait, I like always encourage them. Like, I'm like, oh, I don't actually drink. That's one thing I always make sure to like kind of like let people in on, like just like because I think it's a major like life thing.
Yeah,
it's just like, oh yeah, I don't drink, but I genuinely don't mind if you do. And so I've had guys go both ways where they're like, oh, like, do you mind if I like grab a drink? I'm like, no, please. Or it's the opposite of like, oh, okay, yeah, I'm fine. And so I think if they need it to function, that's a different story. But actually, one thing I really liked about one guy who did like choose to like have a wine at the second place we went to, he was like teaching me about the wine. Like he was literally going, oh, okay, so like, you know, when you do this, it aerates it, and then you can tell by the speed at which it falls, like kind of the quality and like what like notes you're gonna get. Yeah. And then even like color and all of that stuff. And I was like, I love a man who could teach me something.
Exactly.
You know?
Exactly.
It's like, you're educated about anything and everything. Like I love a trivia person almost, you know, like something who knows a little bit about everything, right? Yeah. What about you?
Well, you mentioned that you obviously need to share that information from the get-go, just that you know, you don't drink. I feel like for me, like I want to set that bar too, in that I like to casually drink. Right? Yeah. See, that's always a very hard topic because I feel like when you make that type of statement, then they're like, oh my God, does she drink a lot? But I don't think I do. But it is something I enjoy in a social setting, but also in a casual by myself. I know there are a lot of people that don't casually drink alone. Yeah. Or at least in my circle, everyone's like, oh, it's definitely only just a social thing. Right. But I love coming home, having pizza with a roommate, having a beer. Yeah. Or even like when I go home to my parents, us maybe three people, 1 bottle of wine, talking about our weeks. Right. Prepping for a vacation. Right. Or even making jokes. Like that's it doesn't always need to equate to like black out, go out, soju bottle after bottle type of thing. Right. But then also there might be days like that. Exactly. And I think, okay, one thing I really want to point out is I've been noticing like some guys like dreading their like girlfriends or significant others or whoever like drinking. And so I think alcohol is a very important factor when you like kind of start dating. So anyways. Wait, dreading, when you say dreading, like when when their partner starts drinking because they're like, because they become sloppy, or like I'm gonna have to take care of them. Yeah. But Julie takes care of herself. Julie will just good. I'm an Irish exit type of person. She literally was like, I'll be right back. Just stay here. And then she goes outside for some quote air. And I'm texting her. I'm going, Julie, how are you? And she said, I'm in an Uber on my way back home. And I was like, you just left? Do you remember? I don't really remember. Awesome. I didn't think so. It was great. Your days of not blacking out until you get home. I cannot say that. Yeah, I can't say that anymore. I mean, I'm not going to keep it that way. Yeah, but no more. But the moral of this story is that I could take care of myself. Yeah, she really can. She's a strong, independent woman who likes to drink but can take care of herself. Yes. Yeah. Yes. I would also like to clarify, Julie is literally not messy at all. Thank you. Zero mess. Except for the fact that I dropped my sister's sunglasses. Do you remember that? I do. I crushed them. Wait, I also crushed my sunglasses that night. I crushed them and I forgot. Okay, I knew, but I kind of forgot. Put it in her bag, gave it to her. Oh no. And she just sends me a photo. We'll show it right here. Okay, we'll show it right here. And she was like, WTF? Like, what went on? And I was like, dude, I couldn't even fight her on it. I was like, dude, I'm so sorry. Like, I'll get you a new pair. But instead I got her sweet potato cheese bread the next day. But yeah, I'll be owing her a pair of sunnies because it was demolished. Yeah, it was both lenses popping out of the frame, and it didn't even close properly. Like, might as well not R.I.P. have given them back. Yeah, R.I.P. Unsalvageable for sure. So yeah, well, I guess I bring up alcohol just because, like, if you're so nervous, which if the conversation prior to meeting was so good. So understandable, right? Like, you feel the butterflies. Like, if the beer, if a glass of, or if a cocktail, whatever, is going to set the mood and like allow you to be more like fun and like loose, I think that's fine. Loosey goosey. Yeah, but obviously I'd never, not that this has ever happened, but maybe I'd cap it at 1. But if the guy's really good at drinking, maybe 2. Like if you're going to like worst coochie, which I don't know how it's actually pronounced.
I was like,
This is an adopted.
She said worst coochie.
Worst crush.
I think it's worst-a-K.
No, it's not.
I think
I
it
have
is.
never heard of that.
I think it is.
Worst-a-K?
Yeah.
Worst-a-K.
Yeah. You think it's closer to
Okay.
worst coochie?
Okay, it's not
than
worst.
worst-a-K?
Okay, it's not worst coochie, but Worcestershire? Dude, I don't know. Like that, right? I could see having like 2-3 beers.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
But
fair.
yeah, then I'm definitely not wearing a tight top because beer makes me bloated. So yeah.
Okay. Fair.
Yeah, those are my thoughts
Okay,
because
fair.
I'm not trying to send confusing signals.
Oh.
You know what I mean?
No.
Like, cause you know my rule. There's not even like a kiss. There's nothing like that on a first date for me.
Right.
So I feel like sometimes with alcohol, if you get too drunk,
Okay.
it can be confusing.
Are you saying that like if you drink too much on a first date,
Because
the other guy will assume
I think
that
so.
you're down?
I think so.
Like down for a hookup?
I think so.
Really?
I think so. You don't think so?
I don't know. I literally like have never thought about that because I don't drink. You think so?
I think so. You know what?
I don't know.
Yeah, I think so. I think okay, so it also depends, right? Well, just naturally with
Right.
more intake of alcohol
Loosey goosey.
equals intoxication, right? And higher volumes of intoxication means you're more loosey goosey. So sometimes you might be a little, maybe touchy,
Loosey goosey down
maybe
there
a little
too?
closer. Maybe a little closer, you know?
Oh.
You know? So that's why don't get drunk on the first date.
Okay, yeah,
unless you want to be loosey goosey.
Yeah, then that's fine. No
But-
judgment. Yeah.
But yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. What's another thing? Personally, I'm not too bothered if they look at their actually, am I bothered? I was about to say looking at their phone, but
I'm bothered. Immediately bothered.
well, I feel like you're bothered just in general, just like with friends too. Like you're very much a not be on your phone when you're having quality
yeah,
time.
like look at me in the eye.
Yeah.
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 Eyes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think both of us are good at making eye contact, but then when you start making the eye contact and think I am making eye contact,
Right.
that's when it gets a little weird.
Oh, you know what I've been thinking about a lot is like, you know, like when you're trying to make sure that the other person knows that you're paying attention to them. Like when I'm eating, like I think it's so weird because I would catch myself literally keeping the eye contact while I'm like taking a bite. And I think I started to notice because I could tell people were giving me weird looks.
Like pretend like you're eating and looking at me. Like that. Is that the look that they're giving you?
Like you just gotta be like,
You can just eat. I know you're listening. Yeah. And when people like stare at you for no reason and you look away, I get very upset with myself.
because it's like they won, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Truly, football has unleashed another level of competitiveness within me.
I love it.
And so there was a
into that.
scrimmage, right? For like the men's football at
Right,
church.
right.
And I went to that and I was just picking up some Starbucks. But yeah, this just older male person was coming out of Starboobs and was just like looking at me, right? Like maybe he thought I was cute looking. I don't know. But I did not look down. I just straight up looked at him and then he looked away.
I don't like that.
I don't like that either.
Yeah. Also, another interesting point. So I was talking to one of my guy friends and he was saying how like, right, he's on the dating apps, whatnot. And a lot of these first dates that we're going on, he's making like, I guess like kind of like judgments on who is like long-term eligible versus, oh, this is not long-term eligible. Based on their profile, which, okay, is kind of a normal thing to do. But then specifically, he was outlining how the girls who are like more naturey and like into hikes, and it seemed like more like wholesome activities, were more long-term eligible than the girls who like to go out a lot and like drink and whatnot. Right? Like you can kind of understand the division.
Why is hiking a wholesome activity?
I guess it is wholesome because it's like outside and sober. Right? And like physical exercise, but like I just like was like rethinking it, right? Because I've been on the dating apps. I'm like thinking back to like what my profile looked like. Like I love live music, like I love festivals. And so I go to a lot of them, right? And I
Yeah.
want the other person to know that. And so
Yeah.
I would put those things on my profile.
Yeah.
And now I'm like, were people not taking me seriously based off of those things? Because like I will go on the occasional glorified walk. It's not like an intense hike, you know?
Yeah.
But like, did they not see me long term because I like to go out? Like, you don't even know me to the point where like I don't drink when I go out.
Yeah.
And so how could
Exactly.
you even...
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Like, I was like, what? What are your thoughts?
What are my thoughts? I don't know what my thoughts are on that, because I think that has a lot to say about the person making those judgments too. Which I think it roots to the immigrant mentality, to be really honest. Like even me too, of like, oh, like if you're playing, right? Like when I went to college, it was like, you cannot play hard and work hard. And then I met people who literally could do both.
Right.
And that's what I'm saying. Like, so making those types of judgments, like, oh, if they like going to the festivals and music concerts, like maybe they're not like focusing on the other parts of their lives. But, right? Like maybe they just think it's like you have one or the other. It's not both.
Right.
So I think that says a lot about the individual making that judgment.
Okay.
Which is not like a bad thing or a good
Right,
thing. Because
it's
I'm
just-
sure, like there are other people, like there are people who think that way too. And so like those
Right.
people will align and meet and
Exactly.
flourish and happily date and
Have children.
exactly.
Yeah.
And then, boom,
and then,
boom.
right? And they like to go on hikes. The kids,
Yeah.
the family. That's a family activity. They go on hikes.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And then you'll have people like, I would say more like us. More like us. We're like, I hope we can go on family vacations when we're older and
You have the occasional drink at dinner?
yeah.
Right.
Occasional.
You have the drink at dinner.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Actually, what are my thoughts? That's so crazy to me.
Right? I never thought about that perspective.
But I've definitely seen a TikTok about it.
Okay.
And I mean, you make a judgment. It's hard because this is not to say that I don't do that.
Right.
Right? Like we both do that.
Right.
But I guess I've just never heard, or have I heard it be correlated to like long-term, like marriageable type and fling?
I just like don't know how to feel. Because I think more than like thinking about like his thought process, like I was just thinking about like how I'm being viewed. Like it made me rethink.
Well, and maybe that goes to the initial point of why, like, I don't have first impressions of people on the first date, but also don't like it when people think they know me, because you don't,
Right.
right? Especially, like, let's say we've gone on like 5 dates. You know, maybe like 10% about me, maybe just the facts. But like we said, going all the way back to just the beginning of the episode, you really get to know, I think, especially people like me through the experiences of like what I'm fearful of. And like, I really don't think I have trust issues. Like, I think honestly, I trust people a little too much, like see the good in them a little too much.
Okay.
Right. But yeah, it's about like spending that enough time to like build that trust for
Right.
then me to maybe even consider opening up.
Yeah.
Even consider, because as we talked about in a couple episodes ago, I don't think it was just you, but for a lot of people, I gaslight myself into like thinking, oh, should I bring it up? Should I not bring it up? Is it that big of a deal? I want to pick and choose my battles. Is this one I want to pick?
Right.
That's usually my thought process.
Right.
But if we don't even have like that much time to spend together, then yeah, it's just, I wouldn't even bring it up.
Yeah.
So it goes back to like, you don't know me. It's too stressful. I'm getting flushed. I think the thought of now needing to update the next guy on 25 years of my life is the scary part. You know, because if I'm already kind of like someone who struggles with opening up, there are even more layers now, more years to need to catch this person up on.
Right.
So I don't think it's not going to be a barrier or like an obstacle, but I think that just means like this person needs to be that much more patient with me.
Right. Because it's going to just
And-
take you like
Yeah.
time
Yeah.
to build trust and all of that. Yeah. That's fair.
And so I will let you guys know when I make my Hinge profile,
Yeah.
but it probably won't be this week.
I think you should set it to
This year?
a specific location
No.
of a specific individual. Okay.
No.
Anyways. Okay, last one. Ready, go.
Well, okay, before this is the last one, I mean, there's so many others, right? But I think that those are all just too boring and basic.
Yeah. We're
Right?
not boring or
Like-
basic here.
Yeah, like the don't talk about religion, don't talk about politics. I mean, you could talk about religion, I guess, if you want. Like, and I guess you could talk about politics if you want.
Right. And you can talk about your exes if you want.
If you want.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
we're past all those things.
Yeah, exactly. But last one is on a site that I saw. It was like, do not impose a second date on the first date. That was like a big no-no. But what are your thoughts about that?
I got thoughts.
What are
I
these
got
thoughts?
thoughts on thoughts.
Thoughts on thoughts.
So like, right, I love when I know where I stand with the person, right? Because I think my big thing right now is like I don't want my time wasted, right? Like I don't want to feel like anxious about things. It may take away from like the butterflies and all of that, but like I need to know where we stand, because at this point like we're adults, you know, like time is ticking, like I'm not trying to, you know, all of that. And so
Time is ticking.
I love when on the first date the guy is like, oh, I would love to see you again. You know, like if I enjoyed the date, if I like the guy and they say that, it's like, oh, I immediately know where we stand, and so I can expect them to follow up about that, right? And then like even on the second date, like he did that for the third date. You know, it's like, oh, like we should do this, right? But then on the flip side of things,
yes,
when I don't like the guy, if they like didn't catch my drift during the date,
yeah,
but also do I show it? Probably not, because like I'm not gonna be like mean or like not engaged during a date. Like I think that's just like humanly rude, you know, human to human rude. And so when I don't really like the guy and I don't really want to see them a second time and they say that, it gets real awkward. You know what I mean?
Do you have like a default answer?
I usually am like, like
yeah, we'll see about that.
I'll let you know.
Oh, I'll let you know.
Yeah. You know, I like try not to be like, oh yeah, I'm down. You know what I mean? And then like post date, I'll be like, hey, so I've been doing some thinking, and I'll always give them a text. Like, yeah, I will like almost always give them a text to be like, hey, like really, really appreciate our time. I don't like see this going anywhere. You know, good luck with blank. Personalize it to them.
Yeah. Please make a template book.
I have it.
No, you don't.
I literally have it.
No, you don't.
I do.
I definitely have saved one that Shanae sent us before. Oh,
Shanae sent me that one too.
Yeah,
and so it's in the same notes app as my.
Oh, that's awesome.
As mine. Yeah.
Please share with me.
Okay, I will.
What are my thoughts? My initial thought is I'm not a fan of it because it comes off a little too much.
Oh, it's like you like me too much.
Well, or
it's like, why are you obsessed with me?
Like, yeah, once again, like, you don't know me. Like, why are you like, oh, and then, well, you know, I'm just a confused and difficult person, right? Because I would also feel kind of sad if it took an entire day, but maybe I would find it more appropriate post first date once we got home.
Oh, okay.
Right?
Yeah.
Like, hey, today was fun. Like, when can I see you next? Like, over text.
Oh, okay.
Kind of leave it a little like hanging.
Right.
You know?
Like, like let's both like think about how we felt about the date.
Yeah. And then I think an organic way to do it on the second date for the third would just bring up, oh, next time we should try blah, 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 blah.
Oh.
You know?
Right. But then in terms of that, if they don't follow through, then it's like,
then that's not my guy.
Why are you making future plans?
Oh, you see, know? Okay. Oh, well, talking about future plans, I think that's a big no-no.
That's a big no-no.
Yeah, that's a big no-no. When like in the texting phase, like pre-first date, honestly, maybe up to pre-third date. Well, I'm just saying like on the second date, like, oh, next time we should try this food. But when you're like activity, planning out so many activities. I think that's a huge red flag.
I think so
like,
too.
That I think is what sets the expectations like through the roof. And then it's like, it's too much. The expectations are too much. That's a huge no-no.
Yeah, when they
not on the first date.
Like straight up are like talking about future things.
Yeah.
Like have you tried this restaurant? Or if you drive by somewhere, like oh, have you been to that park? Like I completely agree.
Yeah. 100%. Oh yeah. Yeah.
And then if they start talking about like marriage, kids, run.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. The initial answer is yeah.
Like but
no. When
or no yeah.
No, yeah.
Yeah.
No, yeah. No, yeah. But then when do you talk about that?
Like when you're like officially dating and like later, you know? Like it can't be like...
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I hate us. People are like, can these Valley girls please? They're talking a deep voice.
All right.
No. Okay.
All right.
I think it can organically come up if you're talking about family dynamic on a first date.
That's fair.
Right?
Yeah.
Oh, like I have an older brother and an older sister. Just kind of grew up with a big family. So
yeah,
maybe, but.
Right. Like there has to be a good segue.
Yeah, for sure.
If they're just like automatically bringing up like,
I will say like not random guys, but like even like coworkers, right? When they ask me like, oh, like are you close to your sister? I never really know how to answer that question. Which who knows? Maybe you guys will be meeting her soon. And so now I just go back to the dynamic that I've broken down of like me being the first and the youngest and her being like the middle. That's like the perfect way to describe our dynamic.
right.
But maybe that could also be like me sharing about my family to then
Talk about
family,
their future family wants.
yeah, but also that's also, I feel like I categorize that as oversharing. Like when I talk about me feeling like the oldest and the youngest and my sister being like the middle.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I don't really know if I want the other person to know that stuff on the first date.
That's so interesting. You see, this is like the stuff I want to talk about.
This is the final conclusion after this episode, or really what I've thought this past week is I was an onion, a medium-sized onion, really challenged myself to open up,
Yeah.
and then now I'm just a bigger onion.
Oh, there's more layers.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think there's some
is
the word callous?
Sauteing. Oh.
sauce.
I was just it's like sauteing too.
Sure, we could cut up a part of the onion.
Or let's do a bloomin' onion. You know,
onion? Yeah, I would never bloom the onion. I would never be the bloom onion. The bloomin' onion? Not me. That's too much. That's
Okay.
too much.
Okay.
It's too much.
Yeah.
Maybe onion ring, a layer at a time.
Okay, I like that.
Yeah.
I think something I've been thinking about is actually, though, dismissing everything that we said on this episode.
Okay.
Is like, no matter what, no matter if you do the things that we said don't do on a first date, or if you don't do the things we say to do on a first date, your person will not like pass you by. What's meant for you will not pass you by. So it literally doesn't matter.
Yes.
On the first date, if things go like wrong, terrible, bad, because like if it's meant for you, like that person will be in your life. And so literally, yeah, let me just contradict everything that we said.
That's so true.
Yeah.
That's so true. So if you made it this far in the episode, this is what the episode's actually about.
Yeah.
That's true. I agree. So I'm just going to be patient. Something that I lack.
Okay. Well, you guys know where to find us on YouTube at BULGOGI Pod. Like, comment, subscribe, tell your friends. We're also on TikTok and Instagram at bulgogi.podcast. You can find us on Twitter at BULGOGI Podcast. I'm on Instagram at HANAKATTT.
And I am
She do.
on Instagram and TikTok at BEJULFIED.
Yeah.
1, 2, 3. Ooh.
That was really not like, that did not sound good at all. I remember when
you were the first one.
I lost my mind.
Woo! Something so crazy about the place.
Even your emotions have an echo. So much space.